looking at a product next from a company called Anthropic. And I had to look up the word anthropic, and I believe it means within the realm of human understanding. We are in the anthropic era, or the one that I like the most is we humans are limited by the anthropic perspective. We cannot think beyond the way that human beings think. The AIs can think beyond the way that human beings think. But some of that's going to be spurious thinking. Some of it's going to be valuable. The name of the product is Claude 2. I looked at Anthropic's website, and they are going to the big companies. So they're going to let's say, what's the Lowe's or Home Depot, and saying, hey, we've got this valuable AI model out here. Can we train it on your data? Can we fine tune our language model on your data? And then you can use it to assist people in your stores or ordering online on your website, or large legal offices, these legal offices that have 1,000 lawyers in them, 1,000 partners. This company, Anthropic, goes to the legal firm and says, we want to use your data to fine tune our model, and then you can use it in your legal practice. You can release half of your paralegals if you get this running successfully. So we're going to only charge you $200 million for this, but you'll save that in 3 years by all the employees you release. Here's the login to Claude. Again, we're looking at a new model. We've looked at Pi, we've looked at ChatGPT. Now we're looking at Claude. It's primarily available in a web browser, and it does, as usual, have know your customer login requirements. And you can log in with, you can make up your own email address and password, or you can use Google. I am using Google because it's quick and fast. I don't have to keep track of all of the IDs and passwords by website. So I use these IDs, Google IDs. First time you log in, you have to acknowledge all of the constraints, all of the risks, all of the potential flaws. You have to know. And they're saying, hey, we could change. You can't make us, stay the same. We're going to change. And here's how you input text to text prompt. This is where you engineer your prompt right there. You can see in this screen. And notice the item that I've circled. This is something I'm learning very, very slowly. But if you talk too repeatedly with an AI on a particular subject, it seems to have worse and worse answers. This is especially true in this music generation thing that I've been dealing with. All of them have somewhere some logo that indicates start a new chat, and it will list on the left side or the right side the categories of chat that you've had. So here's an example. I think we'll start with some of the examples. Yeah, I've put in, here on the left is the screen that you see. On the right, you can see the prompt that I typed in. I asked Claude, can you read Ashland, Oregon City website? And then underneath it, it gave the response. Notice how the information is dated. Look down in the 4th bullet. It says that Julie Akins is the mayor, and that was a year ago. So that its information is dated. That's a good catch that we got there. And now let's look very closely at the details of the prompt engineering area, things that you can, as a user, choose. And we're going to deal with these. You can, of course, just type in your well-constructed prompt, or you can add upload a PDF, a text file, a CVS file, which is a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, or I think there's another one out there called RTF, rich text format. You can upload them up to a 5 maximum at total 10 megabytes each. I only uploaded one, and it was bigger than 10 megabytes, so I had to. Here is another user prompt that I put in. Notice how long the prompt got. Please help me understand some of the laws of the state of Oregon. I'm looking at the public records request information, and I misspelled the information. Is there an overview of how municipalities in Oregon are required to respond to records requests from residents of that municipality? Maybe you could synthesize the Oregon law for me in 6 bullet points and a couple of paragraphs. Could you also please cite the laws, ORS, that apply to public records requests? And thank you. So I did a couple things. I was polite in this request. I told it the format of it. I also asked some of the information details to include when that ORS is Oregon Revised Statutes. I've looked at the laws a little bit in Oregon, and I know that's what they're called in the state. And here's what it produced for me. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is pretty sophisticated. And now what's my next step in doing this? What is my next step? There was right at the beginning of this, probably in April or May, there was a news about a lawyer that did this and didn't do something and got in big trouble, almost lost his law license. What was it?
Check for accuracy.
Hey, humans, see how much smarter humans are than the AIs, because the AIs could fabricate these answers. They could hallucinate. Its motivation, its value could be do whatever the user asks. So in the misaligned values, it could just make stuff up. So man, pat myself on the back. I got that across. And now very quickly on the right-hand side in the circled area, notice those symbols. In our remaining sessions, we've got 3 sessions to go, you're going to start seeing those icons a lot more. I'm in this example using the Microsoft Edge browser. Again, the browser does pretty much the same thing that Chrome or Firefox does. It's just made by Microsoft. But Microsoft has integrated its Office package, Microsoft Office package, into Edge. So you can, for free, you get Microsoft Office, but you've got to use it in Microsoft Edge browser. And if you haven't heard, Microsoft had changed the marketing moniker, the brand, to Microsoft 365 instead of Office. I'm going to call it Office probably for the rest of my life, but Microsoft is trying to brand it now as Microsoft 365. So notice that. You'll start seeing that a lot. And then in this example, I copied and pasted it into Microsoft Word within the Edge browser. Notice up at the top of this browser here are somewhat similar to what you might see in Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word. This is what you might see. And I copied it across, and then you can lay it out, do a fair amount of document layout there. I don't think I did. Geez, I just learned something new. So that's, again, copy and paste into Microsoft Word. And now, any questions on this particular, issuing a well-constructed prompt to Claude, its response, and then I copied and pasted it into Microsoft Word 365. I don't know how to brand it. What I found is Claude responds quite well, and Claude is highly rated as being more open than many AIs as to how it produces its material. What is its corpus of training material? Companies like OpenAI, they're not telling the public much at all. They're just doing it behind the scenes. That's how capitalism works. You keep your trade secrets. But this Anthropic is revealing a lot of its information. No questions. I'm going on to the next one. The next part of Claude that I think is the most valued for me personally. There's the paperclip, which basically means upload a document, and then you can ask questions about the documents. It may take 15 seconds to analyze the document. It may take 30 seconds to analyze the documents, but then it does a pretty good job of making bullet lists, creating a study outline for it. If you were in college or graduate work, you had to read a 200-page book, you could put its information into Claude and then create your study guide. So here's an example of an uploaded file. Here's how it uploads the file. It's just a standard dialog box, as these are called. Now, I use a Mac. I'll try to get something for Windows. I have a Windows machine that I haven't started up recently. But I just clicked that paperclip, and it brought up, say, what file do you want to put up there? And I'm going to do that. We can see how it operates. I hope I can do it. And then here's what happens. I don't know how many of you are following in Ashland here. There's a 15-acre plot of land near Noble Coffee House, the old railroad yard, that is under analysis by the Oregon Department of Environmental Quality, by Union Pacific Railroad, by the city of Ashland. It's got some industrial pollution on it, and they're deciding what to do with it. Part of it has been cleaned up. The less polluted parts have been cleaned up. There's some stores there, some offices. But I took the document from the Department of Environmental Quality. You can see its name there. It's called UPPR. I uploaded that. How many? It's like 9 megabyte PDF. I uploaded it, and then I asked the question, summarize this PDF document in a bullet point outline. Make a markdown table of study questions and answers. Now that it just added that last part in there, but then it just went through, provided a bullet list. I could say provide 10 bullet points, or write 7 paragraphs, just executive summary. Any of those items could be put in. And then again, in this scenario, I'm using Google Docs. So I've copied and pasted from Claude to Google Docs, and then I laid it out a little bit, did a little bit layout. So you can see the examples. So a more detailed list of items. And here's down at the bottom here, it talks about the alternatives. How is this? That's a good question. How is it valuable to you, or how is it valuable to the public in general, or both?
Well, just in general, yes,
Okay.
general goes back to me, right? The general will come back to
Okay, imagine that you operate a business that receives 250 letters a day, and each letter is about 1 or 2 pages long, typed mostly. And so you could use this. You could scan the letters and then submit all 100. And have it find out you could have it evaluate which are the most important one. And then you could go and deal with those, or you want to cheat, you could have it write a response to the letters. And then, you'd have, a paralegal or a secretary or, entry-level employee read your generated response to the letter before you send it out. So that's one example. Yeah. Another, I think, you read these or hear these stories about 1 million documents being turned over in legal discovery. How does a law office process 1 million documents? In the olden times, you see the junior partners down in the basement around a table with boxes off to the side, going through the 1 million documents themselves. The junior employees working 18 hours a day and 6 days a week to get a partnership in the law firm. Now, what are these law offices doing? They're submitting all 1 million of the documents to an AI, a trained AI that this Anthropic has trained on legal language, and and they'll find the pertinent stuff. Find me the stuff about the poisoned medicine that was sold by XYZ Corp in 1999. Boom. It will find that document in a snap. So, or another instance for me personally, I in my petitions to the city recorder, I write to them. They sent me back a letter with 143 pages of engineering designs. So I analyzed the text that the recorder sent me, and I said, write a response to this, and in it say, hey, you didn't answer my questions. You only sent me voluminous information designed to, what do they call it, flood the zone. You sent me spurious information, and write it in a friendly way, and do it in 1 page, in 3 paragraphs. So boom, there's 3 examples: work, law office, me personally. And so let's look here. I have Claude. I think it's Claude 2 now. Here.
You do have a couple of questions in the chat.
Oh, please, would you read them for me, Maureen?
All right. Is there any restriction to saving the document on your own computer rather than the cloud?
You're submitting the document to the cloud.
That refers to that pasting into Office 365. Can you then save the document?
Yes, that question, there is a problem there. Yes, you do end up having to save it, as I understand it. Well, let's explore that. Or I can explore that. It does, in my current uses of it, require or defaults to saving it in OneDrive. OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud. And I save a lot of stuff there. Maureen and I pay $100 a year for Office, the package. I borrowed Microsoft Word for so many years that I don't feel, I feel obligated to pay for it now that I can. So there is a requirement to save it into Microsoft's cloud, and you may be able to export it, but I don't know the answer to that question. Good question, though. Let me write myself a note. I'll write it on this.
Okay, and Emily Vest has a question about how would you use this with a news article, for example, CNN.
Audio, or you're talking about like a written news story is my assumption, that you could copy and paste a number of articles to, so you had three, you can have up to 5, did it say? You could create all of the stories. You could go to CNN, you could go to Washington Post, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, and The Guardian, and get the stories on the same topic. I don't want to talk about the Arab-Israeli war situation. You wanted to write about the shootings in Maine. And you could take all of those articles and submit them to Claude and have them synthesize them into your own story. Or you could synthesize a long story. We get the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. Some of them are quite lengthy. And I find myself dragging by about the 5th or 8th paragraph. You could submit the whole article and have it summarize it, give it an executive summary, and then say, oh, I better read that article. That's important for me to read that one. So that's with news articles from the web. You could synthesize information from a number of different sources, or you could have it summarize a lengthy article type things. Imagine a high school kid who has to do a current events report on, instead of spending an hour and a half doing the mental work, they copy and paste it into Claude, and they generate a summary, and then they change 1 or 2 words, copy and paste it into Word, and print it out and send it to their teacher. They say that's cheating. It teaches them how to use AIs, but it doesn't integrate into their mental schemes.
Okay.
So,
No kidding.
what's the next question, Maureen?
That's it. 2 questions.
Okay, let's go. Oh my goodness, because we got a lot to go yet. Here, I'm going to upload. You can see me uploading here. I'm going to get this McKinsey report. I had to downsize it to 3. I chose the file, and notice it uploads it. You're seeing it processing it. Now it has it in the chat box. And now, please provide a summary of this report with 7 bullet points and 3 paragraphs. Link to the article in areas you think important. Now, I don't know, I'm faking it on that second part, but click it. It's generating. Notice it's processing. Somebody should have started the stopwatch. And let's see if it comes up with it. Well, I should play some of the music in the background. That's maybe I've gotten in. Oh, there we go. It took it a while. I think if you pay, you might get things much more quickly. Oh, and I should have used, let's see here, I'm gonna start up.
Jim,
Yes,
I wonder why you say 7 bullet points. I would think you would just let the article decide how many bullet points would be appropriate.
yeah, you can do that. That's that works. Now I'm gonna create a blank doc, and I'm in Word, the Word version in the browser. So here's the Word version. There's the document. So now I'm going to cut. Let's see if I can do it here. Copy. Let's see if I can copy. Oh, notice down at the bottom. Can you see down at the bottom here? It has copy, retry, and a negative feedback loop. So I'm going to hit copy. I think it copied it. I'm going to bring back my Word document, and I'm going to hit copy. No, copy, paste. There's the document in Word. And you can, this is a standard layout process. And there's a whole process that you can go through. And there's Claude. I was going to do that correct there. So there we go. That's the gist of Claude. Now let's go to the